New data from PitchBook shows that AI startups have raised more than $150 billion this year as the industry tries to keep up with rapid growth. Meanwhile, the Nasdaq Entrepreneurial Center now shows which cities are best positioned to support startups. So where is innovation accelerating? What are the factors driving growth? Joining us now for more is Nicola Corzine, CEO and Executive Director of the Nasdaq Entrepreneurial Center. Thank you for joining us here today. Let's get right to it. What are some of these what are some of the factors affecting the top cities in your list here?
Yes, great question. So I should start by saying this was a multi-year study that was generously funded by JP Morgan Chase and NASDAQ, really trying to anchor into how does place affect the rise of the innovation economy for all. There are 250 metropolitan statistical areas across America, and we looked at the top 20 to understand what were the defining factors, as you said, to understand where this movement is happening. There are a few key things that emerge from this that are really interesting and I think give us hope to the rise across all of the US by the time it's said and done. First and foremost, the criticality of access to capital. I think we've always known this, but the type of capital is really interesting. When you analyze every single one of these top 20 MSAs, they actually hold 70% of all of the accredited angel groups in the entire United States. So 10% of the metros hold 70% of access to angel capital, which is traditionally seed capital and the emergence of where place and space allows entrepreneurs to really take that first leap of faith. Now, on the other side of the barbell, interestingly enough, is access to 504A loans. Now, 504s are traditionally known for capital expansion. So this is where the rise of headquarters, the rise of opportunity for deepening capital expansion is really key. And so to see these places having access to both one type of high-risk capital alongside this expansion capital is really interesting. Academia is another place where we saw a lot of hope and opportunity coming from. All of these top 20 MSAs have really strong R1 research institutions, as well as very strong community colleges, which are rising entrepreneurial exposure. The importance of that, obviously, is the skilled labor force that's required to ensure that people can stay in the places that they desire to build and have access to exceptional talent that allows them to realize their entrepreneurial dreams. And certainly, last but not least, in the commonalities across all top 20 MSAs is politics. Not to go politics, but we will for just a second. And I think what's fascinating here is the sentiment, the understanding across all sides of parties on the importance of entrepreneurship. So there's a sort of sentiment analysis that goes into state politics. And in all 20 of these MSAs, every single bill is being considered 3 out of 5 times through the lens of entrepreneurship. What is this effect going to have on small businesses? How are we drawing in top talent that can stay and really thrive in our locations? What more do our entrepreneurs need? How will this affect them? And so that intentionality to understand entrepreneurial risk and opportunity through policymakers above all else is really a shining light in these regions.
All right, let's say I'm an entrepreneur and I happen to be in one of these top 5 districts. That's great. What are some of the things that I should be thinking about to ensure my entrepreneurial success?
Well, first, it's very important to know that community is critical. When we look at the ability to persist in the hardest of times, feeling connected to community is actually one of those areas that consistently rises to the top. So being able to lean into support systems, entrepreneurial support organizations in your location, having access to peer-based support systems, very important. Also making sure that you're not doing it alone and reaching out early on to ask for the kinds of help that you need. I think we know all of this, but what is inspiring as we dug in with case studies into all 20 of these MSAs was to see again how many stakeholders were really aligning around entrepreneurial opportunity and saying, how can we help? Whether that's a service provider, a law firm, a bank, all of these critical players that say, we know what's at stake when our entrepreneurs get it right, and we're here to support you in the early days and in making sure that you have access to knowledge, talent, and capital along the way.
And I got to talk about AI here for a second with you. You note that there are such things as necessity entrepreneurs, and there was a wave of those during and after COVID, but now we are in a new necessity, and it has to do with AI. So kind of break that down for us, will you?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a growing belief right now that our next wave of necessity entrepreneurs may, in fact, come from the AI advent that's right on the precipice of all of us. And certainly for a younger generation of entrepreneurs than have historically had to worry as they're coming out of university or even pursuing early entry career pathways, what will be available to them. And so we're now seeing more early entrepreneurs sort of come into this necessity field through the AI advent. Obviously, again, fascinating to watch mobility trends that are going to happen. I think during COVID, we saw how easy it was for people to say, quality of life is critical to my ability to thrive and build where I want to build. And so, too, what will we see from this new AI environment where entrepreneurs, younger entrepreneurs, are finding themselves early in entrepreneurship as a result of needing to, for their own financial wealth and for their own career pathways. We're optimistic that there's going to be incredible talent that therefore enters the entrepreneurial sphere in a way that hasn't been done. And Nasdaq Entrepreneurial Center and many of our friends and colleagues out there are excited to support them in that journey.
All right, we're excited here too, and thank you for your time here, Nicola.
Thank you for having me.